In early 2025, the U.S. dairy industry faced a staggering loss of $2.3 billion in export revenue. This decline marks a significant downturn from the robust figures seen just 2 years prior in 2023. The comparison highlights a troubling trend, with export numbers plummeting over this short period. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's a direct hit to the livelihoods of thousands of American dairy farmers. Many of these farmers were already struggling to make ends meet, and this financial blow has only deepened their challenges. The sharp decline in export revenue signals a crisis that ripples through rural communities, affecting not just the farmers, but also local businesses and the broader economy. The impact is visible in the shuttered storefronts and the worried faces of workers leaving dairy facilities. For years, U.S. dairy exports have been a cornerstone of growth, sending milk powder, cheese, and butter to markets around the globe. These exports have been vital in sustaining the industry and supporting rural economies. Now, international markets have become increasingly volatile and less accessible, posing a threat to the entire supply chain. Disrupted trade routes and idle shipping containers tell a story of uncertainty and challenge. In this segment, we'll break down the export trends, explore the forces driving this downturn, and discuss what it means for the future of American agriculture. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for navigating the challenges ahead. The consequences are real and far-reaching. From the dairy farms of Wisconsin to the sprawling pastures of California, families and entire communities are feeling the strain. The economic and emotional toll is significant. This is more than a story about milk and dairy products. It's about the resilience and determination of American farming in a rapidly changing world. As these farmers face new challenges, their spirit and tenacity remain a testament to the enduring strength of rural America. To truly grasp the current crisis facing the U.S. dairy industry, we must take a step back in time. We need to examine a decade marked by explosive export growth that reshaped the industry. From 2013 to 2023, U.S. dairy exports more than doubled, reaching an impressive peak of $9.5 billion in 2022. This remarkable growth was unprecedented. The surge was largely driven by increasing demand in Asia and Latin America, with Mexico emerging as the top buyer of U.S. dairy products. During this period, the U.S. shipped between 15% and 18% of its milk production abroad. Essentially, 1 in every 6 tankers was destined for international markets. Products like non-fat dry milk, whey proteins, and cheese experienced record growth. American mozzarella and cheddar in particular gained a global fan base. The industry transitioned from a domestic focus to a global powerhouse, investing heavily in infrastructure and cutting-edge technology to meet international demand. Export success became a linchpin for farm gate prices, but it also introduced a new layer of vulnerability to global economic shocks. While reliance on foreign markets brought prosperity, it also introduced new risks that were previously unconsidered. This vulnerability, once a distant concern, would soon be exposed, highlighting the fragility of the global supply chain. The record highs of 2022 masked deep vulnerabilities. By mid-2023, exports began to slide, accelerating into 2024 and 2025. U.S. dairy export value dropped nearly 20% from its peak, with cheese and milk powder shipments to Asia down sharply. Global dairy prices softened, compounding the pain. Less products sold at lower prices. California and Wisconsin, major dairy states, faced inventory backlogs and financial strain. Even stable markets like Mexico showed signs of stress. The downturn wasn't a blip. It was a fundamental disruption, forcing the industry to rethink its global strategy. The era of steady growth was over. Geopolitical tensions and trade disputes have been a major blow to U.S. dairy exports. Retaliatory tariffs from countries like China made American products more expensive and less competitive. The EU and New Zealand, facing fewer barriers, quickly filled the gap. Once lost, market access is hard to regain, even if tariffs are lifted. U.S. cheese exports to some markets dropped by half in a year, erasing years of progress. Meanwhile, global protectionism and slow U.S. trade negotiations left American dairy at a disadvantage. The global dairy market is a fierce battleground where nations compete not just for profits, but for influence and long-term sustainability. Every year, billions of dollars worth of dairy products cross borders, fueling economies and shaping agricultural policies worldwide. The stakes have never been higher, and the pace of change is accelerating. The European Union and New Zealand have aggressively expanded their export reach, leveraging their strong reputations for quality and sustainability. They're not just selling products, they're selling a story of responsible farming and environmental stewardship. By securing better trade deals and investing heavily in marketing, they've positioned themselves as leaders in the global dairy narrative. New Zealand's grass-fed, low-cost production model, combined with the EU's extensive network of free trade agreements, gives them a significant price and access advantage in key markets. Their ability to deliver consistent quality at lower costs makes them formidable competitors, especially as consumers worldwide become more price-conscious and environmentally aware. As U.S. dairy exports have declined in recent years, these competitors have ramped up production and aggressively captured the market share that the U.S. has lost. Nowhere is this shift more evident than in Asia, where demand for dairy is booming and supermarket shelves are increasingly stocked with products from Europe, New Zealand, and beyond. Meanwhile, emerging exporters like Argentina and Belarus are entering the fray, bringing new energy and competition to the global market. These countries are investing in modernizing their dairy industries, improving quality, and seeking out new trade partnerships, making the fight for every sale even more intense. U.S. dairy producers face higher production costs and increasingly tough regulations, from labor to environmental compliance. These challenges make it harder for American dairy to compete on price alone, forcing producers to innovate and find new ways to add value or differentiate their products. The fight for global market share is more intense than ever before. Every percentage point gained or lost can mean millions in revenue and jobs at home, making this competition a matter of national importance. The U.S. is no longer just competing with its traditional rivals, but with a growing list of ambitious new players from every corner of the globe. In this rapidly evolving landscape, adaptability, innovation, and strategic partnerships will determine who comes out on top in the global dairy race. Global consumers are changing what they want from dairy. There's rising demand for high-protein, specialized ingredients and products with clear sustainability credentials. The EU and Oceania have excelled at marketing these attributes, locking in premium contracts. U.S. dairy has lagged in telling its sustainability story, while New Zealand and Ireland built powerful green brands. Plant-based alternatives are also gaining ground, shifting perceptions and competition. Economic slowdowns in key markets make buyers more price-sensitive, favoring cheaper suppliers. U.S. exporters face shrinking margins and tougher competition for every contract. The market is evolving, and U.S. dairy must adapt or fall behind. The export collapse hits farmers first, but the pain spreads far beyond the farm. With fewer exports, milk floods the domestic market, driving prices down and pushing family farms to the brink. Every lost farm means fewer jobs and less business for local suppliers, hurting rural economies. The national trade balance suffers, and the entire dairy supply chain, from haulers to processors, feels the impact. Processors may cut jobs or delay investments, stalling innovation and growth. Uncertainty stifles investment, making it harder for the industry to recover. The cost isn't just today's losses, but lost future potential. The ripple effect is real. Communities, jobs, and the future of American dairy are all at stake. The crisis is reshaping the industry's landscape. Facing crisis, the U.S. government and dairy industry are fighting back. The USDA buys surplus dairy for food programs, offering short-term relief but not a long-term fix. Industry groups are lobbying for new trade deals and tougher enforcement of existing agreements. The focus is on regaining market access and leveling the playing field. The industry is also pivoting, investing in value-added products, innovation, and direct relationships with global buyers. There's a renewed push to showcase U.S. dairy sustainability and animal welfare standards. Building a strong, credible sustainability narrative is now essential for global competitiveness. The path forward demands adaptation, innovation, and relentless advocacy. The U.S. dairy industry faces a crossroads after a decade of growth and a sudden, costly downturn. Trade disputes, fierce competition, and shifting consumer demands have cost billions and shaken rural America. Government support and industry innovation are underway, but the future remains uncertain. The global market is volatile, and the fight for relevance is tougher than ever. The industry's ability to adapt and advocate will decide its fate. American dairy's story is now one of resilience and reinvention. The question: can U.S. dairy reclaim its leadership, or is this the start of a permanent global realignment? The answer will be written on the farms and in the factories that power this vital industry.